Yeah, what's up with the YouTube, man? I just want to make another video, just talking about just coworkers, just coworkers. Like, I feel like everybody's dealt with an annoying coworker, um, just somebody that you know just makes your job just that much harder, you know. And it's like different types. Like for me personally, it seemed to I always like clash with like the bully types. You know, me personally, it's like the ones that think that they can go around and talk to anybody kind of way. You know, do anything they want to, and for whatever reason they think it should just come with no consequence. Because when you're at work, most people are trying to keep their job, so they're not about to take it to a place where they can lose their job, or they're not about to go on back and forth with you, or get into a screaming match with somebody, or things like that at the job. So most people just avoid bullies. They avoid them. They just ignore them because they want to keep their job. They're not trying to whatever. But like, at some point you have to confront that bully. Like, I remember I had a job to where I'm a chef. I've been a chef for 12 years, and I remember I had a job to where there was this older lady, like in her 60s, who had been working at the job for like 40 years. And she used to just bully just teenage girls, like just talk crazy to them, to the point she used to make them cry. Like, what I mean? It was a couple of occasions she would make people cry. And I just remember one day, she was talking crazy to one girl. I'm sorry, I'm looking outside. My next door neighbor's dog running around. Um, but she was, telling the girl how terrible she was, and this and this and that. And I told her, I was like, don't worry about that. You're doing a good job. And I remember that just set her off. And she got to talking about, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'll, stay on that side or stay in the back of the house and all this other stuff, right? And I just remember, we went back and forth. I wasn't like raising my voice or saying anything crazy, but I was just telling her, like, you're a bully. You're not gonna bully me. I'm not scared of you. These little girls might be scared of you, but I'm not. You could talk to them crazy, but you're not gonna talk to me like that. And I remember I could just see her, this I don't even know how to explain it, but this aura, I guess you could say, I could see her losing aura. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, it's an ego thing. It's an ego thing. You want to bully people around at work because most likely, you pick and choose people that aren't gonna give you any pushback. And but that dad gave her some pushback because she was also racist too. That's a whole another story. It was a situation. Not too long after that, she had called me a colored boy. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a whole nother story. But she was just an old miserable bat. That's all it was. Yeah, and yeah, and another type of coworkers you'll run into is like you got people that are like I guess you could just say they just like drama queens, drama kings. It's like people that just all they do is go around and tell other people's business. They talk about other people. They try to undermine what other people got going on, and that's just another sign of just a miserable person, to where you just can't, or everybody just has to be uh, talked about. You got to have dirt on everybody. You got to spread everybody's little secrets around, and you telling this person about this person, and then you telling them what they said about them, and then you go back and telling the other person. You got a lot of those people just in any workplace, but especially in like kitchen settings and restaurant settings and things like that. Like I've worked in healthcare for the most part, like dietary and healthcare, and you got nurses and CNAs, and then you got the front office people, and then you got maintenance people, and then you got housekeeping people. You got all of these um, different departments, and all these different personalities, like, things are just bound to happen. And, you know, you got this person coming from that department talking about, what's going on over there. So now it's like, currently at my job now, I know things about people that I shouldn't know just because just listening to people talk, just listening to people, tell other people's business to a certain extent. And, you got to deal with people like that. And then it's also like, the classic, slacker, the classic, oh, this damn dog is barking. The classic, yeah, just a classic slacker, the person that comes to work and shit. Half of the time you don't know where they are. Half of the time you don't know what they did. You don't even know how they still have a job. It's usually somebody like that. You just like, how do you still work here? If I did half of the stuff that they did, or if you did half of the stuff that they did, you wouldn't have a job. But yet this person can come late. They can call off. Not do what they're supposed to do, not be where they're supposed to be at. Nothing's on time and this and that, and they just seem to get away with it. Um, a lot of time what I learned with situations like that, it's like a favoritism thing, or sometimes it's nepotism. Um, that's like a whole separate thing too, like nepotism in the workplace. Honestly, especially in like restaurant settings, it can get really yeah. But yeah, anyway. Um, but you have to deal with these type of people, and they can make your job harder. They can make it to where you got to do a lot more work. And what I learned about a lot of these people, they usually have like good personalities. They usually like a people person, like people like them. And so I think they use that to their advantage. Like, okay, everybody likes me, so I'm gonna do a little less work. Because you will kind of, if you like somebody, you will kind of look past their shortcomings a little bit. If it's somebody you don't like, you're gonna be kind of looking at every little thing, and they got to be perfect. If somebody you don't like, they have to be perfect. But if you do like them, you'll give them a little more leeway. So yeah, it could be kind of hard to deal, especially depending on what kind of job you got. If you got, a 3-man team and you got one dude that's always slacking, or a 3-lady team and one lady always slacking, um, that could be really hard to deal with. And another person that I found that you kind of have to deal with every job is the I could say, I guess you could call him like a weekend warrior, or just the person that when they leave the job, they always have so much going on. They always on vacation. They always doing this. That every weekend they're at this event doing this, doing this, doing that, and their life is just so grand. Just outside of work. It's just so vast and filled with just joy and just you know but when they at work they're just super miserable, always down, always this. But of course, when they leave, they the man, they the woman. Everybody loves them, but at work they're just nobody. And these are the same type of people that try to make it seem like they're just they so rich. Like they don't even know why they're at this job. They have so much money. You know what I mean? Oh, I got this kind of car. I got this kind of car. I guess they can almost be a whole nother person. But like, you know, the person that obviously is living above their means. Obviously is spending more than they make. But they're at work like everything's good. Everything's good. Yeah, I know I got $100,000 truck, and I just had my wife just had another baby, and I know I just bought her a $60,000 Tesla, and I know that I got $1,800 mortgage, and but everything's good because I got it. It's always somebody like that at a job, but y'all know you couldn't afford any of that. You can't afford $3,000 a month in car payments on top of an $1,800 mortgage. But for some reason, this person that's making about the same amount you make can afford all of that. You know, and Yeah. There's just a few types of things you got, kind of coworkers you got to deal with. And I guess another one could be like, there's always like a kind of like a know-it-all, you know, somebody that, you know, usually not even in your department or not even in your area or whatever the case, trying to tell you how to do your job, trying to tell you what to do, trying to, mitigate what you got going on. And, a lot of people, they just don't know how to do their own job, stay out of the way. It's like, you know, just do your own thing and stay out of my way. Don't worry about what I'm doing. A lot of people, they really do worry about other people more than they worry about themselves, especially at work. It's like if you're in a work setting, you're in a job setting, worry about yourself. Worry about your work and what you're supposed to be doing. If this person's not doing what they're supposed to do, they're not doing anything about it. Hey, what can you really do? Just make sure your job is done. Make sure when they come to you and say anything, you have what uh, you know, you done what you're supposed to be doing. Cause yeah, those are the type of people, snitch, like to snitch and like to do this, things like that. But it's a lot of people, a lot of different characters, and everybody's not bad. You run into some good people, depending on what kind of job you have. You run into some good people. You run into some cool people, but you will have some people that you need to avoid. You will have some people that make your job worse. But most people, majority of people, I would say 75% of the people are just trying to get a paycheck and go home, trying to do what they need to do and get up out the way. But yeah. But yeah, that's just a few types of people you'll kind of run into at the job, or anywhere like that. But yeah, I'm sure I left out a few people, archetypes or whatever the case. So let's let me know in the comments and like and subscribe.